On this week's episode, we are talking all about a recent discovery call that we went on and how shockingly bad it was. And before we move on to the intro, I just want to say happy birthday to Laura Moore, because this is going out on her birthday.
Oh, thanks! It's my birthday! Welcome back to my birthday episode of JFDI with the two Lauras. This is what it's officially going to be called from now on. Feel free to come and send me a birthday message. You know, I'm always on Instagram. But let's just talk about what this episode is actually about. This is the podcast. I've been totally thrown off by my own birthday, this intro, just by the way. But yeah, welcome back to the podcast for social media managers, where we talk about all sorts of things that are not just birthday related. Sometimes they're about marketing and winning clients and content ideas and inspiration and all sorts of things. And as Laura's just alluded to, today we're talking about discovery calls, because we had the worst discovery call ever recently. It was so bad. I'm going to tell you all about it and give you some tips and ideas on how to make sure that your discovery calls don't go as badly as this one did. So shall we get straight into the story, or do you want to sing happy birthday to me?
No, let's not. My singing is not good enough for our podcast. Right, so let's just give a bit of background. So we wanted some help, as generally people do. That's why they have discovery calls. But it was worth saying this wasn't a social media manager. But at every point in the process, we were like, oh my God, like this was bad. And there's so many lessons from all of those stages, right from the start of this discovery call. So we just thought we'd have a bit of a chat. We haven't really made notes on this. We just thought we'd kind of talk through the process and discuss what went wrong for them. So
most of it.
So you guys cannot make those. And I hope no one's making these mistakes, because it was like a catalogue of errors. So we booked the call. That went fine.
That was fine. That was all went fine. That process was easy. Yeah, very good. Can't complain.
We then got on the call, and it was Laura and I, and then two other people, and one person was late.
Yeah, so one person, probably a good 10, 15 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the other person, well, let's just say, Laura and I are very much of the opinion, and hopefully most people are of this opinion, that a discovery call should be about trying to discover something about the person who wants to hire you. So you know what they want, you can create a proposal, you can deliver on it, etc., etc. And in that case, you would imagine that the person looking to hire you would be the person doing the most talking. But Laura and I probably sat on that call for at least half an hour and didn't say a word. We were not asked any questions. We were just being talked to for at least half an hour of, by the way, this discovery call was in our calendar for, I think, 30 minutes, and it ended up being an hour and 15. It just went on, and it was over lunchtime, and I was starving. That wasn't good.
That's never good.
Never good. But literally for the first half an hour, it didn't ask a single question. It was just constant, talking about how amazing they were, talking about how great a sales person they were.
And this was it. There was one of them who was probably more techie, one of them who was obviously responsible for sales, and he described himself as well. And we got his backstory. We got his whole life history.
Yeah, from birth.
From one perspective, I was like, is he just killing time because this other geezer didn't arrive? But it was just all unnecessary. I honestly, we thought we'd done a bit of research into these people, so I didn't need the life history of the business. We understood what the business was delivering. That's why we'd booked a call, so we didn't need all this kind of fluff. And it was like 15 minutes, and he's still going. Laura and I are just like, yeah,
smile and nod.
Yeah. And then this other person then joined the call, and I get it, I hate being late, and I hate it when people are late, but I do try to be sympathetic to that. Sometimes it is out of your control, but he did apologise, and then he was clearly wanting to wrap it up as well. It was so interesting watching the dynamics between the two people, because it was like the salesy one was very chat, and the other one was less so. He was kind of trying to shut him up without saying shut up, mate. So it was really interesting. I found that fascinating. Obviously, being one of two, it was interesting to watch two people. So we were probably about 45 minutes into the conversation, and I, at this point, had realised they had completely not understood what we were needing.
Which isn't a surprise because they hadn't once asked us.
Yeah. So they kept, and then the one was going off and saying, whilst the other was talking, the other was like, I'm going to get you an example that I can show you, which was fine. At this point, where I was still like, maybe he does get it, maybe he doesn't get it. And then the other person was chatting away, asking us questions that weren't really relevant. And I was like, why is he asking us this? We don't want X, Y, Z. We're here for A, B, C. And then the other person then came back, wanted to share his screen, share his screen with us. And it just wasn't relevant. He's completely not understood, as Laura's just said, because they never bothered to ask what it is we needed or wanted, or really understood our business, understood what we were trying to achieve. And
it was as though it wasn't just that they misunderstood what we wanted. It was that they were at a totally different level than what we wanted as well. What we wanted to talk to them about was fairly basic. Yeah. And they were coming in at very much I don't want to say mansplaining, even though there was a lot of it, but it was very much, this is like advanced levels to try and wow you and to try and make them look good, so that we were like, oh my God, this is like really technical. We couldn't possibly do anything like this, but it wasn't even what we needed. So because they hadn't bothered to take the time to find out what we needed. So they were talking to us at a totally different knowledge level, totally different tech level. And I think that could probably happen in a discovery call with a social media manager as well, because we're all so in it, aren't we? We all know what we know. We don't know what our client doesn't know. So we're talking about it from a very high level that we would have a conversation with a peer, rather than with a client who has no knowledge. Because they didn't find out our knowledge level, what they were talking to us about was not only irrelevant, but it was at a different knowledge level for us. And at one point I did actually have to say to him, look, we need to stop you, because this is absolutely shit and it's not relevant. And what you're telling me is just pointless. And we still were on the call for about another 40 minutes after that. Like, it just went on
because
and on,
then I think then they, and to be honest, he did say, oh, I'm sorry, we have misunderstood. So then it was like everything started again. So then they were trying to like come at it from a different angle. And to be fair, the more correct angle. But by this point, I'd like zoned out. My doodling that I often do on calls had gone, like my sheet was just full of doodled. Like I'd zoned out. I was like, these people.
Bearing in mind, hurt from my fake smiling.
We'd also had a different discovery call. Was it the same day or the day before?
Yes, it was which had been morning, wasn't it?
Much better experience, much more to the point. They clearly knew what we needed. They knew that they could deliver it. So that was much more slick. So in comparison, this was just like a shit show. But then we kind of started to kind of be able to round up the call, thankfully. And he did what we would always recommend social media managers do. They say, I'm going to follow it with a proposal. Great. Including a price, although they did then start fumbling, saying, well, it will be roughly this. They were like, what kind of budget have you got in mind? And I was like, it depends. I'll know whether I feel like vomiting, whether it's too much when you send it. And they like laughed. And there was this kind of patronising kind of mansplaining a bit. I think they thought we were going to be like, oh, we're not going to spend more than £100. Yeah. Whereas actually we had a fairly big, sizable budget for this project, and they came in very low, really. He was like, it's going to be roughly,
oh, that's a bargain, we'll have two.
Yeah. He was like, oh, it's going to be roughly about this price. It's like, don't give me a rough price. Go away and give me an actual price, because if he gave me a rough price and then came, say, £3,000, and then the proposal comes in a few days at £4,000 because they've actually sat down and done the numbers, that's not good. Because in my head,
that makes £4,000 sound expensive, even though it would still have been lower than our actual budget.
Yeah, so we would never advocate for giving anyone a price face to face. You always should be saying to people, I'm going to go away and I'm going to figure this out so I can give you an accurate price. I don't want to get it wrong now. But if you are ever put like completely under pressure and there's no way out, go higher, go higher. So then when the proposal comes in, they go, oh wow, that's amazing. Okay, that's a lot cheaper than I thought. So then the psychology behind that, people think, okay, this is more affordable than I was envisaging it was going to be. So it's a more pleasurable experience to look at that price. But they were like, oh yeah, well, I think it's going to roughly be around this price, but we'll put a proposal together. Fine, like tick. And they were like, and then let's book in a follow-up call next week, which you can see both of Laura and I were like, that follow-up call is not going to be needed. But we did go, okay, fine.
Can I just say the best thing about this whole conversation about the follow-up call was that obviously this call had run on. It had been really long. And he was like, it'll only be half an hour. We were like, yeah, right. And he said, Laura said, can you do first thing in the morning? He went, well, I've got a call at 10. She was like, that's fine. Let's do 9:30. Because we were like, we'd be off. No, I can't do that. So she said, okay, what about in the afternoon? I've got to leave at 3:30. So shall we do 3? And it was like, so it was very much us putting boundaries, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was like, can you do it a bit earlier? And I was like, no. Like, no. So you either want to speak to us or you don't. But yeah, there was definitely a bit of kind of strategy involved, just trying to make sure it didn't run over. But to be honest, booking that call in, I knew we would probably be doing that call. Although I was intrigued. I did want to see the proposal. I was interested to see what they were going to suggest, especially towards the end of the discovery call, where I think there was kind of getting what we needed. So they were going to follow it with a proposal. He said within a few days,
very specifically said, within a few days.
Again, setting expectations. Yeah. And then the call was for the following a week exactly to that day, wasn't it? So we were like, fine, okay. I think it was on a Thursday. I can't remember now, but we were going to I was thinking we'll get the proposal in a few days, and we'll have a couple of days to be able to consider that before this call. So, and then we ended the call. Thank God.
Yeah. And then just have a lie down in a dark room.
Yeah. And then nothing.
No, we waited proposal. And waited and waited, didn't we? And we did. The proposal never arrived. So we thought, well, maybe they just don't want to work with us. Yeah. That's fine. We're not overly upset about that. Easy. And so the day before, but we did wait, didn't we? We were like, we'll just wait and see what happens. And the day before the follow-up call, we cancelled it.
It's worth saying, if they'd have come to us and said, look, I'm really sorry, something's come up, I haven't been able to get the proposal to you. Like, we're normal people. Like, we know shit happens. Although it would have probably subconsciously made me be a bit like, oh. But I'd have been totally fine if they'd have just messaged us and said, look, I'm really sorry, we're going to be a day late with this, or can we push this back? Like, we are totally normal in that.
Normal humans.
Yeah, that's fine. But no, so we heard nothing. So a day before this call, bearing in mind, we are busy people. We have got a lot going on at the moment. We were like, no, we've not heard from them 24 hours before this call. There's plenty of other things we need to do with our time. So yeah, as Laura said, we cancelled the call.
And it was very easy to cancel the call. Great process. Just basically like a Calendly kind of link. Click cancel, give a reason. I just basically said we haven't heard from you, so therefore we don't need the follow-up call. Job done. And we thought that we would move on with our lives and go ahead with the other person who had been a brilliant discovery call.
Yeah.
So that was brilliant. And just so lessons from this. If you are on a discovery call and you give someone an expectation that you're going to send a proposal, well, first of all, I would follow up straight away. Great, thank you so much for the call. Just to let you know, I will get your proposal over to you by XYZ date. Here's a reminder of the follow-up call that we've booked in. Yeah, straight away.
And this is where the phrase under promise, over deliver comes into effect. I got a phrase right, although I stumbled.
Well done. So we didn't get that email, but I would ideally you would send that email. Then obviously you want to meet that expectation and send the proposal or whatever it is that you've said that you're going to send them before that follow-up call. So they've had a chance to look at it and they've got, in their mind, they've got the questions they want to ask you. Because there's nothing worse. I don't know about you, but I hate getting on a call where they're then delivering the proposal to me and they can see my face and I have no opportunity to think of questions because it's just awkward. Like, don't put anyone in that position. Horrible. So just make sure that you're if you're setting expectations, you're delivering on them. And if you allow somebody to cancel a call and they give you a reason for cancelling that call, pay attention to what they say and learn from it. That didn't happen in this case because I got a phone call. Now, I don't like it when my phone rings, but I was expecting a phone call, so I stupidly answered it, even though I didn't know the number. Probably the worst thing I did that week.
They was the worst person to either of us.
Like,
you're the
why
worst
call
one
me?
to call. Yeah.
Yeah. And they called me and they said, why have you cancelled your call? And I'm like, I put it on the form. Like, I was very clear why I cancelled the call. And the attitude from this guy was just, well, it was like mansplaining to the highest degree, like I was a piece of shit on his shoe. I explained, I hadn't had the follow-up. He kind of huffed about, like, as if I was going to get a follow-up, where he'd plenty of times
no, we hadn't had the
said
proposal.
Yeah, the proposal, sorry. I hadn't had that. And I was like, we didn't get anything from you, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of acted as though, why were we expecting something? Well, because you said it, mate. That's why. Then said, well, I can send you something. Should we just rebook in the call? But like really arsey. And I was like, no, just don't. The call ended with him saying, good luck. And I was like, pretty sure it's you that leads luck, not me.
Like,
I'm fine.
I just cannot understand what he thought we were following up on.
Yeah, what was the follow-up call for?
Because we'd had no proposal, no, this is what we can do for you. Bearing in mind, we definitely did not get that on the discovery call because they were just like talking about themselves basically and what they've done in the past as opposed to what they can do for us. So I was thinking, right, this proposal is going to be them saying, this is what I'm going to do for you. And then the follow-up is, look, basically, are we in or we're not in? That's what I would say to a social media manager. Those follow-up calls are basically saying, right, when are we starting? Essentially.
Yeah.
And when you told me, I was like, you never guess who's just rung me. And they still wanted this follow-up call without the proposal. And that was our problem, that we hadn't had a proposal from them. Like, it's just remarkable.
Yeah.
And as I say, this was like a chunky project, thousands of pounds. This isn't just like a little couple of £100 jobby.
No.
This was, maybe they're driving around in their Porsches and maybe £3,000, £4,000 project isn't enough for them and it's not worth it. But don't say to us you're going to send a proposal and don't book us in a follow-up call.
And maybe ask the budget question on an application form rather than in a call face-to-face.
Because if they're normally working on 10, 20 grand projects, that's fine. Excellent. But then we weren't right for them because I would not have spent 10 or 20. We didn't need that kind of size of project. So if they'd have in their application had kind of alluded to us, this is the kind of project price we're looking at or work under, does this suit your budget? We'd have not booked that call, which again, it's for you as social media managers, make sure in your application form there is budgetary related questions so people can self kind of identify whether you are the right person for them, because then you remove wasted time, because we'll never work with those people again. And it's likely that we could have done
them.
No. And I can't even remember.
I reckon if that call had gone well and everything had gone smoothly and we'd ended up working with them on that project, it would have been a long-term relationship with them. And so but that is no way an opportunity now. Absolutely not. No. Not just because of what happened on the discovery call, but because of how the follow-up was and the way that he spoke to me on the phone, that just made me think, well, who the hell do you think you are to talk down to someone who is going to give you money?
Yeah.
It just, and like, no.
But I do think that was down to, not that I'm going to get on my feminist high horse, but that was the mansplaining. Like, I really, like when they were on the discovery call, there was a couple of questions they asked us about our business that I know, surprising that they did, where you could tell they were genuinely surprised by the answer. I think they just thought, oh, look at these two women coming on this call. We're going to be able to hook them in. Yeah, they were that. I just didn't like that. But then that's a bigger issue, isn't it? But anyway, we came out of it better than they did, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So anyway, that was what happened on our discovery call, but I think there's some big lessons to take from this. Listen more than you talk on a discovery call. Be the one asking questions. Don't be the one just talking and making assumptions and saying that you can do stuff that you don't even know that a client potentially wants.
It's not relevant,
No. A discovery call is about discovering something. So literally, like, be the question asker. Take notes about what it is they're saying. If you're going to promise some sort of follow-up, deliver on it. Like, don't just leave people hanging. And if you can't follow up because something happens, you know, your dog has to go to the vet or your grandma died, whatever, be clear and tell people, I know I said I was going to get back to you by Thursday, but something's like, everything's gone to pot. Can you just give me till Monday? And most people will be like, yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
You know, just be human and keep in touch with people.
But that's, again, just to reiterate, that's this over promise. That's it. Over promise. No, under promise, over deliver. So, like, if you are a busy person and you reckon you, in an ideal world, you could probably get the proposal to them in a couple of days, but you never know because, you know, life throws you. What's that phrase? Life throws you.
I don't know. What is life throwing at you?
Spanners
Shit.
or something. Life throws you. Oh, whatever the phrase is.
A spanner in the works. It's a phrase. I don't know.
But shit happens. So if you are hoping to get it to them in 2 days' time, just say to them, I'll get it to you in 3 or 4 days' time, because then they're not going to be disappointed when you send it early. They're like, oh, nice. Whereas if you give yourself too tight a deadline and then you have to miss it because shit happens, spanners happen, then it does, although people do accept that happens, it does subconsciously probably
it's much better to build a buffer in, isn't it, for sure?
Yeah. So definitely over deliver, under promise. Jesus Christ, I've got to stop saying
tune in next week for more phrases that Laura gets wrong. The other lesson is don't talk about prices on a discovery call. You can ask about budget. You can reaffirm what they've said in a budget question, but don't say this is going to cost XYZ, because it's just like, no.
Yeah, you need to go away and do the maths and do the thinking and do the planning. Like, you cannot give that number.
No,
because
absolutely.
Bespoke prices mean that you need to go away and create those bespoke prices and based on what they need as a business. And so just explain that to them, just to say, I price based on what you want, so I'm not overcharging you. So just give me a bit of time and I'm going to sit down and make sure that it's an accurate reflection of what you need.
Yeah. We've got a really good pricing resource, actually, that will help with this that I wasn't planning to mention in this podcast, so I can't actually remember the link. But if you go to thetwolauras.com/price, we'll make sure that works. And you can go and grab this free pricing resource. It's got tons of information in it about how you can set your
really
prices. Like a really good calculator that will help you to know what to charge as well, make profit, etc. So yeah, thetwolauras.com/price. We'll make sure that link goes over so you can go and sign up for that for free. But yes, I think there's a lot of lessons from that. Did we miss any others that we want to? Don't mansplain. Hopefully you wouldn't anyway.
Don't mansplain. And just remember who you're talking to. They're not necessarily at the level that you're at. So don't overcomplicate things. Remember that they might not have a clue what you're talking about.
Because often people will think that will wow people, but actually it won't. It
just
will do the
overwhelms
opposite.
people.
It will overwhelm and confuse people and think, actually, I'm not ready for you yet.
Yeah. So show that you understand where they're at. Don't try to kind of overcomplicate things unnecessarily. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Love it. I'd love to hear from people who've had terrible discovery calls, who've been on the receiving end of a terrible discovery call. So if you've got any stories that are worse than ours, come into our DMs and spill it all. We are all ears.
Yeah.
Love to hear all the dodgy stories. Yeah. And like, not to be sexist, but all the bad ones I've been on have always been with men.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe we need to widen out the social media managers toolkit to anyone who's self-employed working as a service-based business, so they can all learn the right way to do these things. Because,
maybe.
But there's that arrogance, isn't there, with more, gosh, this is such a sexist comment, but generally speaking, men have more arrogance.
All the men in our world are lovely. All the social media men in our world, they would never do that sort of thing.
No.
But these people were not in the social media world, which maybe just says it all.
Sweeping statements.
I know.
You say.
This is the podcast of sweeping statements. Everything we've said on this podcast is just opinion. Don't come after us.
Yeah, but if you've had a completely different experience and actually
had a really good conversation with a man,
come and let us know all about it. Yeah, and let's level out the perception that we have. We just need to have some more positive discovery calls with men, and then maybe. Actually, to be fair, the other one was a man as well.
That is very true, actually. Yeah, so 50-50 split.
50-50 split, yeah, and he was much nicer.
Yeah. Well done for bringing that back.
Yeah. Okay. Right then, until next week, I hope you're all having a lovely summer, and happy birthday again to Laura.
Happy birthday to me. I'm going to go eat some cake now. Yeah, I will.
Nice.
Colin and Caterpillar.
Oh,
obviously.
Lovely. Okay.
Right,
until next
see you
week.
later.
Bye.
Ta-ra!